Yep. Shit audio quality today. I'm out of town working on the laptop. So, a while ago, the Oscars happened, and, it's funny. I watched almost 100 movies in preparations for the Oscars just within the last couple months before the ceremony, so I could be informed and have opinions on everything. And I wound up having almost no opinions on the Oscars because it was just like it felt beneath me. That's a harsh way of putting it, but basically, I watched so many movies from 2022 and got to such a level of cinephile for the year that I was just the weird hipster operating on a totally different plane of existence. Like, Oscars, like, yeah, everything everywhere all at once was pretty good, whatever. Meanwhile, I'm in a dark room muttering to myself about how no one has seen fucking Bachmann in his class or Neptune Frost. So, in my overflowing hipster bullshit mindset, what did I think of the Oscars? It's not a situation where I'm really that against most of the choices. Like, there are certain films that are just really good in general ways that almost everyone agrees are good, like Everything Everywhere, Banshees of Inisherin, Marcel the Shell, and stuff like that. Then, when you watch enough movies from a year, you eventually find the really niche shit that just so happens to resonate with you so strongly that it is better to you than the generally good movies that everyone likes, just personally. So, every category, there was a film that I personally loved the most that wasn't even nominated most of the time. So let's see. Best Picture. I'm not sure. It's hard for me to narrow down a favorite. Best Actress. I guess I'll give my ranking at the end of this video. Best Actress, Cate Blanchett, I think. Maybe. Best Actor. Now, see, I was thinking about this. It's already hard enough to measure different genres of films against each other. Like, can you really compare the quality of something like The Other Guys to The Hurt Locker or something? And acting gets even weirder because what are we judging? I mean, it's hard for an actor to do a good job if the writing sucks or the directing isn't there. Sometimes you have an actor that's not even necessarily that talented per se, depending on how you want to look at it, but the director just chooses them perfectly and puts them in this perfect role that where they come across the right way to fit the character. Like James Sunderland in Silent Hill 2, voiced by Guy Seehey. Not a very expressive actor, not the most, hasn't been in a ton of shit, but the way he delivers his lines is perfect for the weird, surly, debatably autistic character of James Sunderland, where his stilted and awkward line delivery is the perfect fit for the game. Crimes of the Future, in 2022 has, Kristen Stewart, who is probably historically, not seen as the best actress, but she's perfect in Crimes of the Future because she's directed and written into a role where they encourage her to employ all of her weird acting idiosyncrasies, and they're exactly what she needs to be. But then, what about, different movies? Awards generally go to an actor for that year. It's an annual award. It's an annual ceremony, and they're saying this is the best actor, but it only goes to one performance in one film. What about, say, Colin Farrell, who in 2022 was in 4 different movies and was a standout actor in all of them with a huge amount of versatility, showing incredible range and tact and a unique energy of charisma in each role. Overall, I would say the best actor in 2022, probably Colin Farrell, for 13 Lives, The Batman, Banshees of Inisherin, and After Yang. Personally, for Best Actor, I would have picked Cooper Raiff, or Gerard Carmichael, maybe Paul Mescal, or Viggo Mortensen for blah, 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 Crimes of the Future. Usually Best Actor or Actress, people think about it like, oh, well, this was the best movie, so whoever was the lead in that movie is the best actor. And it's kind of, I don't like that, but it's hard to think of it beyond that. It's hard to look at a movie that you don't even consider necessarily the best, but maybe the acting was just phenomenal in a particular role. That would take so much more attention than just, yeah, these are the good movies, and these are the good actors in those good movies. That's how you get stuff like Michelle Yeoh winning Best Actress, and like, it's a good movie, and yeah, she's good in the movie. Lots of people are good in the movie. But did people really sit down and compare just the craft of her acting to other lead performances like Jenna Ortega in The Fallout, Cate Blanchett, K.K. Palmer, even, like, say, voice acting roles like Jenny Slate? That woman who was the lead in Holy Spider, I forget her name. Best Supporting Actor? I don't know. There's literally thousands to choose from once you really get down to supporting roles. It's impossible for me to go through all of them and fairly consider who is really that fantastic and comparable to each other, and it's much easier to just pick a good movie and then say that the good actor from the good movie was the best and just move on. I actually do think Ke Huy Quan is a fine choice, honestly. Acting is distinct when someone is able to convey a sort of like energy of their character that other actors are just can't capture in the same way, and I think that is the case with Ke Huy Quan. Best Supporting Actress, I'd probably go with Emily Skeggs in Dinner in America, although that probably doesn't qualify as a 2022 film. And also, she's probably a lead and not a supporting actress, so I don't know, maybe I don't know. Dakota Johnson and Cha-Cha Real Smooth. I forgot to mention Anna Cobb. Anna Cobb for Best Actress in We're All Going to the World's Fair. I actually think she might be better than Cate Blanchett for Best Actress. It's not easy to be basically the only actor in an entire movie, and she does such a nuanced and immaculate job that it feels completely natural. I feel like Anna Cobb deserves Best Actress because she carries that movie in a very delicate way that is very easy to fuck up. And it's not framed in the same Oscar bait kind of way that Tar is, where clearly the whole point of the movie is to get a Best Actress nomination. People were upset about Jamie Lee Curtis winning in this category, and like I don't disagree with that. I do agree that I would not have picked that, but I do think that there are some things that people are not necessarily being fair about here. This extends to what I said way back when Everything Everywhere first came out in theaters, and I put my review up, where people don't know how the fuck to rationalize the difference in how we judge different genres. Everything Everywhere still has drama elements, so it can still be kind of compared to other dramas as a drama, but it's also an action-adventure comedy movie. Now, typically, an action comedy movie doesn't win Best Picture, but why is that? Is comedy, only comedy, no drama, is just a pure comedy an inherently inferior genre? Is it just never going to be as good as a good drama? Could a really, really good comedy that is just really good at being a comedy never even compete with a good drama? People that don't like Everything Everywhere on Twitter, as the popular thing, there's plenty of naysayers, at least the more reasonable ones, generally say that it's just a better than average Marvel movie. And I actually do agree with that. I said as much way back when in my old review, over a year ago. I said, this is just a superhero action comedy with some drama and whatever, but like a million times better than what we normally get from the genre. Twitter naysayers use this as an insult, right? They'll say, oh, it's just some dumb superhero thing, it's a weak genre. But this goes back to the bias people have with thinking that a silly comedy action haha is just a bad movie compared to a serious drama like a Tar or a fucking Fabelmans or whatever. So we either have to ask, are some genres just inherently worse than other genres? Can a comedy be so funny that it's better or equal, or how do we compare that? Can an action movie be so exciting and so satisfying in its direction and well made that it's better than a compelling think piece, an emotional piece? How do we judge these totally different appeals? And I think the same bias extends to acting, too. Like, how can we compare good comedy acting to good dramatic acting? Will we only acknowledge talented acting in a role if the character's expressing human emotions and crying and yelling a lot? That seems stupid and limiting. Why can't a fantastic comedy actor be the most talented of the year? I get why people don't even want to try to think about this angle, because it makes everything way more complicated, and it just becomes impossible to have opinions on anything anymore, because these questions are not easy to answer. I still think Jamie Lee Curtis was not as good as the other nominees, but I think people dismissing her because she was in a comedic role, I don't think that's entirely fair. I loved her in the role when I first watched the movie. No one was bitching about it on Twitter. No one had seen it yet, so, I thought she was good. So, yeah, those are my main thoughts on those. All Quiet on the Western Front won a lot of things it probably shouldn't have. Best score? What the fuck? It's shocking that in a year like 2022, when there was a surplus of magnificent movies with great editing and cinematography, that these are the awards that they gave out for these categories. When I watched All Quiet, I thought it was cute, I was surprised when people on Twitter would talk about it like it was a movie. Like a war movie. I saw that term, like, they're like, oh, this is a war movie or whatever this is. But, like, that felt like such an alien concept to me, because when I saw it, and to this point, I still just consider it just a book adaptation. Like, its genre is adaptation. It's not its own story. And I know that obviously tons of things are adaptations, but I just am not familiar with the source material, so it's hard for me. So I consume it as if it's an original thing when it's not. But this is something that I am extremely familiar with the source material for, and it is extremely famous, like classically famous source material. A novel that's been famous for over a fucking century. So, yeah. And the way that they direct it too, it's made to look and feel like a much older film. It's made to feel like it's hearkening back to older ways of writing and directing and acting and older technology of filmmaking and stuff. And I thought all that was really cute, and I was like, this is a cute way to do an adaptation and to, like, pay homage to this thing that they're adapting the source material of. I'd never consider it like a movie, I wasn't like, oh, what's the plot? What are the events? What are these characters doing? Oh, it's a war movie. No, it exists as an adaptation of something. So I thought it was cute. I thought it was clever the way they did it, but I would never have compared it to other movies, and it winning anything was wild to me. For editing and cinematography, they didn't even nominate shit like Decision to Leave, a film that floored people, was extremely popular in the circles that saw it, swept up a shitload of cult appreciation and other award shows, purely because of how beautiful the audiovisual experience was, with the creative and the romantic way that it's shot. Crazy shit. Best foreign film. I'd probably go with Mr. Bachmann in His Class. No surprise there for me. I am a big fan of that. I thought a lot of the foreign films that I saw from, any award shows lists, I went down them and watched the ones that seemed interesting, plus a few extras. They're kind of meh for this year, for 2022, if I'm being honest. Holy Spider was okay. Obviously RRR is fantastic, but like Saint Omer, Argentina 1985, it was pretty mid. I watched a lot of documentaries though. I think Navalny won the Oscar, and I think it was actually the perfect choice for that Oscar. The one Oscar that I think, like, I can agree with some of the other ones, but that's the one Oscar that I think really just hit the nail on the head. It was the makes sense from every angle. It's the kind of documentary that makes a political statement that the Academy would want to fucking support in this shallow nod way, to pretend like it's principled, I guess. And it's a documentary I do think everyone should watch, so it makes sense to promote it through this award, and it's actually just really fucking good, and like probably the best documentary of the year. Of course, it's still a close call for me between Navalny and Bad Axe. I feel like there should be a category for like boundary pushing, like biggest auteur. You know, stuff like Drive My Car, for instance, which I believe is also another adaptation. Or I think it's an adaptation of a short story that was like drastically elongated for the film and turned into like a weird other thing. If I understand the background correctly. So, like, the subject matter is pretty normal for that drama, but the pacing in the script is just so unusual. The dialogue, the direction and stuff, like, you never know what the fuck it's doing or what it's gonna be about in the next 20 minutes. And it never feels like it's jumping shark or feels like it's a heel turn or anything, and it still kind of follows an overarching narrative and stuff and overarching themes, but it's just a very interesting way to make a movie. And it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around despite how kind of ordinary it is. And it's a very interesting experience to watch it. So I want more recognition to just people and artists that are making these weird boundary pushing choices in their genres. For best animated feature, I honestly don't know what to give it to. I obviously anyone who has been around for a bit, I obviously don't love Puss in Boots as much as most people. Like, it's clearly very good. It's very solid. It has no real problems at all. But is it that special that it's like, you know, rave reviews, fucking 10s out of 10s? Like, there's something about it that, to me also, there's something that bothers me about a franchise like Shrek, where Shrek 1 is very deliberately, it's a muted action-adventure parody and a Disney musical parody, right? It goes out of its way to break the cliched rising action arc of an adventure story. So, you know, it's like it's not just a spoof in the terms that it makes like little jokes here and there, but the entire structure of the film is like a typical adventure fairy tale stuff, but just completely broken and turned into something very different. So, like, you know, they've already completed the quote-unquote climax of the movie and rescued the princess from the dragon and whatever, like, before even the halfway point. And then it's just like, most of the narrative is just following just the boring, long-ass trek backwards through the forest and whatever. And, you know, and just the creative way that it breaks upon the stereotypical fucking cliched way of writing a story like this is the entire thing that makes it special. It is the definition. It is what Shrek is. So to go from a genre divergent reconstructive piece like that to just Puss in Boots: Last Wish, which is a very by-the-books, cliched adventure story that just happens to have a few fairy tale spoofs put in for laughs, that kind of looping back around to just being a typical adventure story that Shrek 1 is blatantly a reinvention of, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Also, even if that didn't bother me at all, and I'm not bothered by it, but it's like disappointing, because I do think Shrek 1 and 2 are significantly better. But even if it didn't bother me, how it's just like Shrek, but made without everything that made Shrek special and clever, where it's just, you know, this adventure between antisocial lead, goofy friendly sidekick character, stern confrontational female love interest character, whatever. It's just like a normal good movie, whereas most other great films I saw in 2022 had stuff that made them a bit more special relative to all media that I've ever consumed. I do like Turning Red more than the average person. A lot more than the average person. But I understand and agree with the fuck Disney hate train and ever. I wouldn't have wanted them to get the award anyways. I think Marcel is extremely good, but I might give Best Animated to Mad God. I really liked Mad God. I don't know, they're all extremely good in different ways. They all have a strong case for Best Animated Feature, including The House, which I also loved. So those are my main thoughts on the Oscars. I've restructured my my ranking a bit from my 2022 film ranking video. So let me just rattle off my current attitude of top 25. 25, Drive My Car. 24, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. 23, We're All Going to the World's Fair. 22, Top Gun Maverick. 21, Banshees of Inisherin. 20, The House. 19, Decision to Leave. 18, After Sun. 17, Nope. 16, Tar. 15, Funny Pages. 14, Bad Axe. 13, On the Count of Three. 12, Everything Everywhere All at Once. 11, The Northman. 10, Turning Red. 9, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. 8, Crimes of the Future. 7, Navalny. 6, Mad God. 5, Cha-Cha Real Smooth. 4, RRR. 3, Babylon. 2, Dinner in America. 1, Mr. Bachmann and His Class. That's about it. See ya.